Hello everyone, here are the latest and most concise, easy to understand updates on the war between Israel and Iran. As you may know, 2 weeks ago, Israel launched a preemptive strike against Iran using hundreds of aircraft, targeting and eliminating many of Iran's top military leaders. In response, Iran furiously fired hundreds of missiles, including UAVs, at Israel. At first, Israel claimed to have intercepted 80 to 90% of Iran's missiles. In the following days, Israel continued to bombard Iran's nuclear facilities, missile bases, and eliminated more of Iran's generals. Israel is a small country, and its only significant strategic advantage over Iran is its possession of nuclear weapons. If Iran were to successfully develop nuclear weapons, Israel fears it could be wiped off the map, especially since Iranian leaders have historically expressed a desire to erase Israel. In fact, in 2017, Iran set up a countdown clock to the year their supreme leader claimed Israel would cease to exist. Some believed Iran would retaliate heavily against Israel and possibly attack U.S. bases in the Middle East. If Iran crosses a red line, Israel may resort to nuclear retaliation. It's simply a matter of survival. Everyone knows that Israel is aggressive and ruthless when it comes to protecting itself. If their homeland is under threat, they won't hesitate to launch nuclear missiles. Come on, hit me if you dare. Do you think Iran will dare to take that risk? However, I believe Iran wouldn't go so far as to provoke a all-out war, because both Israel and the US have nuclear weapons. Only China, Pakistan, and North Korea are not, but China is not close to Iran, and has no reason to risk nuclear war for them. Which means, Iran will have to respond to the US strike without nuclear weapons. If Israel were to be destroyed, China would probably be targeted as well. Israel won't go down alone, so China wouldn't dare. As for North Korea and Pakistan, they have no strong ties to Iran either, and no motivation to provide nuclear arms. If you only followed one source, you might misunderstand because the information often contradicted itself. But, from Israel's viewpoint, they've wandered for thousands of years, and finally found a homeland, and they will defend it at all costs. Everyone is determined to protect their country. The only difference is who is more ruthless. But like before, it seemed like a symbolic attack with no intention to cause real harm. Specifically, Iran fired 14 ballistic missiles. The US claimed to have intercepted 13, meaning if Israel stops by 4 a.m., Iran will also stop. They want peace. Just as we analyzed earlier, supposedly, Iran agreed to stop first. Israel followed 12 hours later, and the war would end after 24 hours. And the last one fell into an empty area, so they didn't bother stopping it. However, reports still indicate that Iran fired more missiles at Israel this morning. 6 missiles in the first 2 rounds, with unclear numbers in the following rounds. But this was far fewer than the hundreds launched in the early days. Mentioning Fuchot implies he sees an end coming. If not the end of soldiers' lives, then the end of the war. And Israel, when it comes to ruthlessness, doesn't fall behind anyone. Let's wait and see. Personally, I also find it a bit sudden. Iran may not want to continue fighting, but ending the war this quickly is unexpected. Then the US president asked, who wants to send nuclear weapons to Iran? Who? The former Russian president responded, Russia won't. We are part of the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. No one has proposed a ceasefire to us, and I see no reason to do so. However, according to CNN, that statement was made 45 minutes before Trump's announcement, so it wasn't actually a denial. They can be kind when times are good, but for the survival of their nation, they will do whatever it takes. I think it's true because Iran had warned the US beforehand, giving them time to prepare. Trump even posted on social media thanking Iran for the warning. This shows that Iran didn't really want to harm the US, and they seem to want the war to end. Firing but giving advance notice, Iran responded by launching more missiles at Israel, including ballistic missiles. If Israel can destroy Iran's nuclear center, it would have no further reason to strike Iran. Iran may still want revenge, but the critical threat would be neutralized. After about a week of fighting, Israel's missile defense systems began to weaken due to depleted air defense missiles. Recently, Israel reported that its interception effectiveness had dropped to 65%. On the other side, Iran also began firing fewer missiles, indicating that Israel had successfully destroyed a significant portion of Iran's missile arsenal. So, does this mean the war is de-escalating as both sides run out of weapons? The answer is no. Israel's greatest concern is Iran developing nuclear weapons. That's why the core of this war revolves around Iran's nuclear facilities. However, Israel lacks the capability to destroy Iran's deeply buried nuclear center, located nearly 100 meters inside a mountain. That's when the U.S. stepped in. The U.S. deployed 6 B-2 bombers equipped with the world's most powerful non-nuclear bombs, each weighing 14 tons. The U.S. secretly bombed Iran's nuclear center. Iran claimed the damage was minor, but the U.S. stated that Iran's ability to produce nuclear weapons had been eliminated. The U.S.'s action shocked the world and sparked a wide range of opinions. Even if Iran possesses many advanced missiles, including ballistic and hypersonic types that are hard to intercept, Israel's nuclear weapons are a massive deterrent. From one perspective, people argue that the Jews came from outside and took land in the Middle East. So even if Israel no longer has effective air defense systems, Iran wouldn't be foolish enough to push them into using nuclear weapons, because that would be mutual destruction. Right now, Iran and Israel are like two fighters. Iran is a strong, muscular boxer, while Israel is small but standing there holding a grenade saying, some say Russia just spoke up. Not their foreign ministry, but their former president, saying that some countries are ready to supply Iran with nuclear weapons. So if not Russia, then who? Most nuclear powers are allies of Israel. So in the end, if Russia won't do it, no one will. I believe Iran will retaliate moderately, like before, and if the US and Israel don't respond, the war might end there. But did things unfold that way? From late last night to this morning, many news reports came out. First, last night, Iran attacked a US military base in the Middle East. Is that true or just bluffing? Then this morning, everyone woke up to the news that Trump declared a ceasefire agreement between Iran and Israel. But is this declaration true? If you read some reports, you'll see that Iran's foreign minister said, "What ceasefire?" Then, about an hour after Trump's announcement, an Iranian official stated, "We will stop responding if Israel ceases attacks no later than 4 a.m. So, although Trump's specific details aren't fully verified, it's clear that Iran no longer wants to continue fighting. Later, the Iranian foreign minister went on TV to thank the Iranian soldiers for courageously fighting to the foot, compared to the massive casualties in Ukraine, with hundreds of thousands or even millions affected. The Iran-Israel conflict has caused relatively few deaths, probably under 1,000, so the footshot likely refers to the war ending. Thus, Iran seems willing to stop the war through some form of agreement with the US and Israel. So perhaps Iran is finishing up one last wave, and then it's over. If Trump's timeline is correct, and Iran stopped 12 hours after his announcement, at 6 p.m. Vietnam time, then Israel will stop at 6 a.m. tomorrow, and the war will end. This is all unfolding much faster than anyone expected. Even some US officials were surprised and skeptical of Trump. Still, let's wait one more day and see if it's true.